The Belmont this coming Saturday. Can Golden Tempo prove that the Kentucky Derby win was no fluke, or does Renegade turn the tables? Find out next here on WagerTalk TV. Hey guys, I'm Marco D'Angelo here. We're going to preview my Sizzling Six for the upcoming Belmont. Now we are doing this video before post positions are drawn. I will have our final selections on our big Pony Pundits show, which will come out Wednesday night, week of the Belmont. That'll have Kelly Stewart and Sean Alvarez and myself as we break down the Belmont in detail. But right now, here's the 6 horses I'm looking at for this year's Belmont. Let's get things started off at number 6 with Growth Equity. Growth Equity will be ridden by Manny Franco for trainer Chad Brown. Growth Equity comes into this race off a win in the Peter Pan Stakes. He has 4 career starts, 2 wins and 2 seconds. But there are 2 big questions when it comes to Growth Equity. How was the competition that he faced? That was a soft field in the Peter Pan Stakes. This is a big step up in class for Growth Equity. The other concern is jockey Flavien Prat. He rode this horse in the Peter Pan Stakes, yet he has decided to ride a different horse in this race, and we'll talk about that horse in a moment. That tells me he doesn't believe this horse has the best chance to win the Belmont. So for me, he comes in at number 6. Checking in at number 5, this one's going to shock some people, Golden Tempo. Yes, the Kentucky Derby winner, I'm putting 5th on my list. Jose Ortiz will be up once again for trainer Sherry DeVoe, but the reason I'm looking at this one, I don't want to take anything away from his win in the Kentucky Derby. He earned it. He came from dead last. He was 20 lengths out of it. But as crazy as that sounds, he had a perfect trip in the Kentucky Derby. There was a speed duel up front, and he benefited from the fast early fractions. And then when he did make his move, he had a clean trip the rest of the way home. And he had a horse to follow as he followed Renegade down the stretch, giving him a target to shoot at. Everything went right, and he got up in the final strides. I don't think that happens here because I don't see a super fast early fractions into Belmont. There's not a lot of early speed in this year's Belmont like we saw in the Kentucky Derby. So for me, I'm making him my number 5 choice. Checking in at number 4 is Emerging Market. Flavien Prat will be aboard for trainer Chad Brown. Emerging Market was the wise guy horse going into the Kentucky Derby. There was a lot of buzz about this horse, the way he was training in the mornings, and that he was going to take a big jump on that first Saturday in May. If you remember, Emerging Market had only had 2 career starts. They were both wins, and everybody was looking for him to take another step forward. And then it didn't hurt that on the day before, on Friday, in the Kentucky Oaks, trainer Chad Brown pulled off what he was trying to do in the Derby. His horse in the Kentucky Oaks ended up with only 2 career starts going into that race, ended up winning that race. And that was a situation that everybody thought, hey, if he could do it on Friday, he could do it again on Saturday. Always a runner, got it done in the Kentucky Oaks, and people thought Emerging Market would do the same. But I don't think Emerging Market lost that race his fault. I think I put the blame on Flavien Prat. And maybe that's why Flavien chose this horse over the other 2 horses that Chad Brown has in this year's Belmont. He's ridden all 3 of them, but he took Emerging Market. The mistake that I felt he made in the Kentucky Derby was he was way too close to that early hot pace. I thought the early fractions was going to cook him. Not only did I feel he wouldn't have enough closing for home, I thought Prat made his move a little bit too soon coming out of the last turn. And although he didn't give it up till deep stretch, that turned out to be what cost him the race. I expect him to run a much better race here in the Belmont, and that's why I have him checking in at number 4. Checking in at number 3, Before we get there, because we are at the halfway point, I want to remind you about that big Kentucky Derby show on Wednesday. We'll be here, full coverage on WagerTalk TV. We'll break the race down in detail with all of the post positions, morning line odds, and what we like. Give you some exactas and trifectas as well. And if you have never bought a play from anybody at WagerTalk, I got a special offer for you. You can get my Belmont package, normally a $39 package, for just $2 if you are a first-time buyer. Just use coupon code Belmont2. That's Belmont and the number 2, and you will get my Belmont package on Saturday, June 6th, for just $2. Not only will you get my Belmont selections, you'll get whatever sports selections I have that day as well. And those of you that have already bought from myself or anybody else at WagerTalk, we got a deal for you too. Use coupon code Belmont10 and you can get $10 off of that package. All right, guys, let's go to horse number 3 on my Sizzling Six list, and that is Commandment. He's going to be ridden by John Velasquez and for trainer Brad Cox. Now, of all the horses that raced in the Kentucky Derby that were considered real contenders, he was probably the most disappointing, finishing 7th in the Kentucky Derby. When I look back and watch the replay, what I didn't like about that race was my concern going into that race with Commandment. Luis Saez was the jockey as the Commandment, although the horse has done very well all throughout his career, has had a bunch of different jockeys. He can't seem to keep the same jockey. I didn't think Luis Saez was a good fit for Commandment. It was the first time that he had rode him. And he had him wide in both turns, and I thought that compromised his chances to win the race. I think he'll race much better in the Belmont, and when you look at the jockey he picks up, John Velasquez is perfectly suited his riding style for this horse. Commandment doesn't have that big turn of foot. He is what I call a grinder. He just keeps rolling it out there and will grind you down. I think he's going to be a horse to be a big factor in this race in the Belmont, and I've got him checking in at number 3. Checking in at number 2, and I'll be honest with you guys, I could have went either way with my number 2 horse or my number 1 horse. I went back and forth with them. And I'll be honest, I might flip-flop them before we get to Saturday. I'll decide that once I see the post position draw. But checking in at number 2 is Chief Wallabee. Junior Alvarado will be aboard for trainer Bill Mott. In watching the Kentucky Derby replays several times, I was really impressed by the performance of 2 horses. Those 2 horses were Chief Wallabee and Renegade. We'll talk about Renegade in a moment. Chief Wallabee was sitting 10th early in the race, but it was a close 10th. He was pretty close to those early fractions. And that is, we've talked about the speed horses. Everybody in that race that was near the pace backed through the field. Chief Wallabee didn't. He went on to finish 4th, and it was a troubled 4th. If you go back and watch the replay of that race, he was making a big move coming top of the stretch. And when he was making that move, he was about to go through an opening when a horse from the outside crashed into him, bumped him, and took him off his stride. He had to settle, check the horse. In that split second that he lost having to check the horse when he got bumped, the hole closed. The other horse went on to go by, and he had to wait. He didn't have an opening. An opening appeared a couple seconds later to the inside, and he had to change directions and darted towards the rail. When he was able to get to the rail and have open space, when Alvarado gave him his head, the horse responded and closed to be 4th. It is the only horse that was involved in the early fractions that was still moving forward in the stretch. That is a big sign. The other thing that I'm looking at is that was only his 4th career start. This horse has a license to make another big jump here. They put blinkers on him in the Kentucky Derby, and it proved to be a good move. I think he's sitting on a big race. He'll have less horses to navigate traffic-wise, and I think he's going to be a horse right there at the wire for the Belmont. I've got him checking in at number 2. And before I get to our #1 pick, want to tell you, if you like this video, guys, you got to this point, do us a favor. Hit the thumbs up button. It really helps the channel out. And if you want to be sure you never miss a single play or video from us, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate you guys supporting the channel. We're closing in on 250,000 subscribers. We're just a couple thousand away. Be a part of the family. Hit the subscribe button. All right, this is what you've been waiting for. Checking in at #1 is Renegade. Irad Ortiz Jr. will be aboard for trainer Todd Pletcher. We saw the Derby. We thought Irad Ortiz had his first Kentucky Derby win until little brother passed him in the final stride to get up at the finish line. Now, if you go back and watch that race, I said 2 horses really impressed me. Coming out of the gate, you had Renegade, who had the dreaded post position 1. We all know the luck of post position 1. It's basically a death sentence in the Kentucky Derby. Well, it lived up to the curse, because when he came out of the gate, he got hit by not 1, but actually 4 different horses. All came inside of him, came in hard left side and pushed him, drug him sideways into the rail. Ortiz had to grab up on him, and it cost him. He got away next to last. The only horse that he was in front of was the horse that ended up beating him, Golden Tempo, when those two came down the stretch flying together. When you consider the amount of space that he lost, getting shuffled to 19th in that race, and the fact that he was still flying at the end, tells me this horse raced a major race. And I think he can repeat here and turn the tables, definitely on Golden Tempo, and I think it's going to be him and Chief Wallabee battling in the stretch. The other part of it, whenever he got beat by Golden Tempo, the reason I say Golden Tempo had that perfect trip is because Renegade had to navigate through traffic where Golden Tempo was wide and had no obstructions. The other part was, it was Renegade that was running down the horse on the front end, and you had Golden Tempo right on his flank. Horses like to have a target. Whenever they have a target to follow, that keeps them focused and ready to go. Renegade might have thought he had the race won when he went by Ocelli, not seeing Golden Tempo coming on his outside, and got up late to beat him. I think Renegade's sitting on a major race, and Irad Ortiz doesn't get the Derby, but he might get the Belmont here. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to tune in Wednesday night for the Pony Pundits Full Belmont Show with Kelly Stewart, Sean Alvarez, and myself on WagerTalk TV. Thanks for watching.